What is it like to work with a coach? How is coaching different from therapy? What's going on? Maybe you've tried therapy, it was helpful, it didn't. You're thinking, I don't want to dredge up all the past again or like dive into my trauma and all my wounding to get better, to get out of stress, to be pain-free. So I wanted to come on here and hello, thanks for coming on, Roland Dragon. I wanted to come on and kind of bust through some myths about coaching versus therapy and share like what it is, what it isn't, because it's just such a powerful modality. And I know a lot of us maybe only know about therapy. And so maybe we're coaching curious. And I can also share a little bit about the work that I do and share what it is that makes this coaching container so special and this relationship. So first of all, welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Jeannie Colwin. I'm in California. Happy early 4th of July. I am, really excited to talk about, so let's dive in. So therapy tends, it's different for everyone, but therapy tends to focus on the past. And if there is a mental illness or disorder, or if there is trauma, or if there is, anything that hasn't been resolved, it's more like focused on the past, and there's a lot of healing. And coaching, on the other hand, is much more forward focused. It's looking at where you are right now and moving you forward. Okay, so it takes you from where you are and focuses on the future. So it's a lot of like goal setting and achieving goals. It's very typically like action oriented, and we don't really focus obviously on like mental health as much or like a diagnosis. So both of these modalities are really helpful. There's not one that's like better than the other. It really is apples and oranges. So it depends on what your goals are, where you are in your life, what kind of support that you need, all of these things. Hi, Ruby. So there's a lot to take into account. So you can start to think about, if you've been thinking about getting support, I didn't realize that about coaching. So for me, for example, I do help people with like emotional pain, and I'm helping people like with their trauma, but more in like the present moment, like what's coming up for you now. So for example, it was Father's Day in the States recently. We're not gonna, for me, like dig into the past, but let's say it was a really crappy Father's Day, or there was a trigger, or your dad called you like, okay, Jeannie, I'm so mad. Okay, I'm gonna help you feel that and process that, and different ways of thinking about it, so that you can move forward, okay? So again, coaching and therapy. And therapy tends to be a lot more structured. Typically, it's, every week. Typically, therapy is like 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and it really is like very structured, right? Coaching can be a little bit more fluid. For me, for example, my coaching sessions, the first one is 90 minutes, so we can really dive into it. My sessions are technically 60 minutes, but I always have clients leave buffer room because sometimes we're in it, right? You're crying, we're upset, and we need a little bit more support, or we haven't finished. So I'm not as much of a stickler on the time. For me, what I'm really focusing on is results. And are you getting like value, and is this helping, right? I don't want to end a session and there's still uncertainty about anything. Okay, so hi, Rogers Dylan. Thanks for coming on. Okay, so we're talking about coaching versus therapy. So this is an interesting kind of stat, and I've heard this before, and I think it's the same for coaching. They say, 50% of your success working with a therapist or a coach is the relationship that you have with them. So that's really important to know. Sometimes we can get stuck in is it the perfect time, the perfect this, the perfect program? And what's really, really important, Hater Dater, thanks for coming on. What's really important is that you have a good relationship, that you can trust your therapist or your coach, that you feel comfortable, that you feel confident, then they can get you to where you're gonna go. So, doing therapy or coaching with just some random person, hi Vicky, that maybe you didn't pick, maybe someone picked it for you, or you're just kind of dialing it in, you don't want to be there, it's not going to be helpful. So there's so much that can come from a safe container. I just had a call with a client. It was the end of our package, and he broke through, and hi Amari, Amiri, sorry, he broke through so much because we've developed such safety and such trust, right? It was like such a safe container that he could allow himself to have emotions that he hasn't felt before. So instead of like the perfect time, the perfect conditions, I really want you to think about who do you feel safe with? And of course, it builds, right? It's not like on your first session, you're sharing everything. But if you're online, if you're on Instagram, like which coaches do you resonate with their message? Therapy too. You can have a free short chat with a therapist to see if it's a good fit. So it really is, I want to highlight, typically there's not a perfect time. Okay. And I just sent out an email to my email list. If you're on there, you got this. If not, you can sign up below. Just put me on your list. It talks about how this summer, for example, we're in it, right? And people are traveling, or maybe the kids are on vacation, or maybe you're on vacation, or maybe you're not, and it can seem like really busy. So it could seem like, oh, now's not the perfect time. But then guess what? It's back to school. It's the fall. It's busy. Kids are back in school. Maybe I was a teacher. I went back to school. Hi, Lottie. And then it was like not the perfect time in September. And then soon it was all the holidays. Linda, oh my gosh, hi, great to see you. And then it's the holidays. It's, here in the States, it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and that's not the good time. And then it's the New Year, and that's not a good time. So I want to offer it can feel like there's never a perfect time. And that perfection is an illusion. And if you're in my mind-body community, you're part of this TMS world. That is one of the things that we're trying to overcome is this perfectionism, right? Waiting, and then that time never comes. So by opting into a program that has flexibility, you can get your needs met and, get better. So, how many of you guys can relate, right? There's always a reason to wait. Healing, especially if you're in my community, if you're here watching, like healing hopefully is a priority for you. And if we're like, 6 months later when it's like the perfect timing, something else is going to pop up probably so that it's not the perfect. And, I get it. It can take courage to start something new. It's scary. You're going to get out of your comfort zone, but it is worth it. Healing requires you to get out of your comfort zone. It just does. There's discomfort with maybe sharing things that are vulnerable, maybe doing the inner work on yourself, not like really wanting to address some things that you need to work on, if there's past mistakes that you've made, all of it. And so that's why I think it can be so helpful to work with a coach or professional or a therapist, right? Because this is difficult work. It is shadow work sometimes, doing the work, accepting and loving the parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily love. So that's great to have support. So it's just a willingness to start. Okay, and if you're looking at, my coaching packages or interested in working with me, I've shared this in the email that I am offering like flexible options for the summer. That way there's not a barrier to getting started. So let's say, we meet weekly, my program is 4 months. So, but I can't start because I'm going on vacation. So that's not a problem. So we can skip that week that you're gone. We could do it a different day if you want to check in with me during your vacation, but we can make this work. I want you to get better. I want you to get far on your healing journey. And that's okay if this summer, because same with me, I'm going to be traveling. I have a few clients that are seeing me less, so I have a bit more flexibility. Okay. So let me just share at this like end juncture what it's kind of, what's it like to be in my world. So in my world, how does this work? You would book a free discovery call with me. The link is in my bio. You can just put discovery call in the comments. Let's get on a call. It's free. It's 30 minutes. It's a phone call. I think it's easier for people than Zoom because, you don't have to see the person if you're nervous, and it can be really uncomfortable maybe to talk to someone you've never met. So it's a free discovery call. You can ask any questions, find out how this works. You'll get a taste of what it's like to coach with me. We need to do the deeper work and go to the root, okay? What's really coming up for you? Are there beliefs that are not serving you? Is there information about this? Hi, Kristen. Is there information that you need to get? We can really flush out what's working, what's not working. What are your goals? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? And then really, what are the challenges? It's like, I want to take care of myself. I want to, do this TMS work, but I don't have time, or I don't have time for self-care. I'm a busy mom, or whatever it is. Like, we need to, flush it out. Beliefs are everything. They can keep you stuck. They can move you forward. Beliefs we can change, but we need to know like what they are first. Okay. So my coaching program, and again, I am offering some flexible options this summer if you didn't hear that part. But typically it's a 4-month program, and we're meeting weekly on Zoom. You can record the call. You get like this nice AI summary. But what really makes, hi Logan, what really makes my coaching special is that there is accountability and support in between calls. So I want to hear from you. There's an app that I use. I want to hear. We always have action steps. Hi, Maka. We always have action steps on every call. I want to know, like, how are the action steps going? How are you feeling? Are you feeling confident? If you have a bad day, or your pain spikes or stress spikes, it can be really helpful. I have a client, and she always says, yeah, when pain, rises, or fear or anxiety, I love like checking in with my coach and knowing that I'm going to get back to you that same day, or if it's evening, within 24 hours for support. And it's kind of like bringing that fear back down again, okay? Kind of helping you with the baseline, because unfortunately, this journey isn't linear. I wish it was just like a straight line up. But it's sometimes like, we go up, we come back, we feel like we're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And it's just so helpful in my healing journey also to be able to check in when we get scared, when the amygdala gets turned on. The amygdala gets triggered and we go into emotions, or we go into fight or flight, and our prefrontal cortex like actually goes offline. It's not functioning. The blood isn't going up here. It's going to our body for us to be in fight or flight. So we can't make good decisions or be creative, or, have that higher level functioning that we normally can. So when the prefrontal cortex is online, then we're freaking out, we're catastrophizing, we're in worst case, doom and gloom. So it's nice to have someone who can kind of like pull you up by the bootstraps, give you the tough love if you need the encouragement, the reassurance that you are on your way. So first of all, if you're here live, let me know if anyone has any questions, and you can reach out to me. I have my booking link in my bio, but you can always just DM me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hadassah, let me know if I said your name correctly. Thanks for being here. We're just wrapping up. But yeah, coaching has just been an amazing, I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for coaching. I was terrified to leave my teaching job. It was very safe. It was very comfortable. And if it wasn't for coaches, I would still be doing something that I hated. And, therapy, I was in therapy, just some background. I was in therapy for the chronic pain, and it was a lot of validating, and it was nice to have support, but it didn't move the needle forward. I just kind of stayed stuck in this victim mentality, and I cried, and I thought that was healing, and I thought that was feeling my emotions, but turned out it wasn't. I'm going to share more about that. So anyway, if you're here to the very end, thank you so much. If you're watching this replay, reach out to me. Hi, Laura. We can get you started. Summer is a great time to start because, like I said, there's flexibility, and, it makes it easier knowing you can also do a shorter package if you need to. I just really want to support you. I don't want time or, a season to be in the way of why you are recovering. So stay in touch. Thanks for being here. Bye, everyone.